Thank you for joining us for Consumer Law for Seniors. We are pleased to have with us Ben Solnit and Karina Barra Arredondo from Connecticut Legal Services. Ben Solnit of Morris is a graduate of Wesleyan and Yale Law School. He long practiced law in New Haven as a commercial litigator. Since 2008, he has practiced consumer law with Connecticut Legal Services in Waterbury. He is currently the president of the American Civil Liberties Union of Connecticut and is past president of the New Haven Legal Assistance Association. Karina Barra Arredondo is currently a legal assistant at Connecticut Legal Services. She attends Quinnipiac Law School and graduated from the University of Connecticut in 2015. Thank you, Ben and Karina, for joining us today.
Thank you, Becky, for inviting us to give this presentation.
Yes, thank you.
So do you want to translate that too, Karina? Or I don't know, we might as well get used to it, right?
Yeah, gracias por estar con nosotros hoy para hacer esta lección.
And thank you, Karina, for translating. Please tell me if I'm going too fast.
Will do.
So I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes for the most common areas where we help consumers, and then I'll take your questions at the end, and we have plenty of time for questions.
Al empiezo voy a discutir sobre problemas consumidor y después vamos a tener un tiempo para preguntas.
And during this 20 minutes, I'll be mentioning some good resources for you for consumer issues.
Y durante estos 20 minutos también discutirá unos recursos buenos para problemas de consumidor.
And the contact information for all those resources will be shared on a document, on a slide at the end of my talk. So you don't have to worry that I'm not telling you the phone numbers or websites as we go along. But we'll put it up at the end, and while people are asking questions, you can write it all down.
Y los datos de contacto estarán al fin de la presentación, entonces no se preocupen que no le estoy dando la información que estará al fin de la presentación.
So the first thing I want to say is that a very important resource is the Consumer Law Project for Elders.
La primera cosa que le quiero decir es que un importante recurso es el proyecto de ley del consumidor para adultos mayores.
It's a statewide hotline throughout Connecticut for anyone age 60 or older.
Es una línea de teléfono estatal para cualquier persona edad 60 y más.
And if you are 60 or older and have any consumer issue, you call a toll-free number and a professional will listen to you and ask you questions about your issue.
Y si usted tiene más que 60 años, es un número sin toll y donde un profesional escuchará su problema y darle un consejo.
And if we can help you, your matter will then be referred to a lawyer like me, who will then call you back.
Y si es posible ayudarle, su asunto sería referido a un abogado como yo, que después le llamará de vuelta.
And if we can't help you, we can often refer you to someone who can help you.
Y si no lo podemos ayudar, a menudo podemos referirle a alguien que sí podría ayudar.
And if you have an issue that's not consumer, there is another statewide hotline that you can call, no matter what your age is, called Statewide Legal Services.
Y si usted tiene un asunto que no es sobre consumidor, hay otra línea estatal que puede llamar, no importa su edad, que se llama Servicios Estatales Legal.
And Statewide Legal Services does brief advice over the phone and also refers people to other agencies or organizations who can help them.
Y Servicios Legales Estatales brinda consejo y remite a las personas a otras organizaciones o agencias que le pueden ayudar.
Okay, so now back to consumer issues.
Ahora de vuelta a problemas de consumidor.
One of the most common ones we see is identity theft. When someone takes your name, social security number, and takes on debt in your name, even though you had nothing to do with it.
Uno de los problemas más comunes es el robo de identidad. cuando una persona toma su nombre, el nombre de su número de seguro social y se endeuda en su nombre, aunque usted no lo había hecho.
And the good news is, if it's truly identity theft, it's done without your knowledge or authorization, you are not responsible for that debt.
Y la buena noticia es que si es un robo de identidad verdadera, usted no será responsable para esas deudas.
But the not so great news is, in order to make sure you're not responsible, you have to do some things. You have to report the identity theft. And if you're 60 or over, all you need to do is call the Consumer Law Project, and we'll walk you through what you need to do.
Pero algo que no es tan buena noticia, para asegurarse que es un robo de identidad, usted tiene que informar a la agencia y también puede llamar al proyecto de ley para avisarle lo que le ha pasado.
If you're on this Zoom or you're watching it later and you're under 60, don't despair, don't worry. You can call the Federal Trade Commission, and they have a special program for reporting and taking care of identity theft. And that will be one of the many things on the informational slide I'll share at the end.
Si usted está en esta audiencia o Zoom y tiene menos de 60 años, no se preocupe. Usted puede llamar a la Comisión Federal de Comercio. Ellos tienen un programa especial para denunciar y hablar sobre el robo de identidad.
I'm going to mention one of the steps involved in curing or getting rid of the problem of identity theft, and that has to do with some outfits, some organizations called credit reporting agencies.
Voy a mencionar uno de los pasos que puede ocurrir en el robo de identidad. Hay agencias que le pueden ayudar que se llaman agencias de informes crediticios.
And the reason I'm mentioning them especially is this is a good way to prevent identity theft, some things you can do with the credit reporting agencies.
Y yo le menciono a estas agencias porque hay formas de prevenir el robo de identidad y estas agencias pueden ayudar en eso.
What you need to do is check your credit reports, and you're entitled to a free credit report once a year. And again, if you're a victim of identity theft, but at least once a year, you should call the 3 credit reporting agencies. Well, actually, you don't have to call them. There's a single number to call.
Lo que usted tiene que hacer es hacer una verificación sobre el informe de acreedor. Usted tiene derecho a recibir un informe de acreedor gratis una vez al año y nuevamente si se identifica un robo de identidad. Puede llamar un número de teléfono para accesar las agencias de crédito.
And that number will be listed on the slide at the end under free credit reports. You call a toll-free number, or you can go online at the website that will be listed on the slide at the end, and you say you want free ones, and you say you're entitled to free ones because a lot of people try to sell you credit reports for money, but once a year, or if you've had some identity theft, you're entitled to them without paying.
Y ese número para las agencias se incluirá al fin de la presentación. No se olvide que este reporte de crédito es gratis. Cuando usted llame, tiene que decir que quiere uno gratis porque tiene el derecho de recibirlo sin pagar.
And when you get those credit reports, and the 3 agencies are TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, you need to get all 3 because there's going to be slightly different information on each report.
Cuando usted recibe el informe de crediticio, son de 3 agencias, TransUnion, Experian y Equifax. Los 3 le van a dar un poquito de información diferente.
And once you get those reports, you check them to make sure they're accurate. If they're not accurate because someone has opened a credit card in your name without your knowledge, or because one of the creditors made a mistake, or the credit reporting agency made a mistake, you need to challenge that, and they will explain how to do that in the credit report.
Una vez que usted obtenga ese reporte, verifique para asegurarse que sean precisos. Si no son precisos o correctos porque alguien abrió una tarjeta de crédito en su nombre o porque la compañía de crédito hizo algo incorrecto, usted puede pelear o discutir ese informe de crédito con esas agencias y ese documento le dirá cómo puede hacer eso.
Okay. The next common area is you get a collection letter or a lawsuit because someone claims that you owe them money, often for a credit card debt. Maybe you do owe them money, but whether or not you think that's a correct claim, you should call, if you're 60 or over, you should call the Consumer Law Project, or if you're not that old, call Statewide Legal Services.
Otro problema común que sale es si usted recibe una carta de cobro o una demanda de cobro de deuda. Quizás usted sí debe dinero, pero aunque sí o no, si usted tiene más que 60 años, puede llamar el proyecto de consumidor para los ancianos, o si tiene menos que 60, puede llamar servicios legales estatales.
You want to call someone because maybe it's identity theft, or maybe it's just a mistaken identity. I had a case today where I have a client, I'm going to change his name slightly. John, his name is John E. Smith, and someone sued him as John F. Smith in a different town. It's not him. It's a common name. But you don't, what do you do when that happens? Call us, call Statewide Legal, they'll help you with that. Or, go ahead, Karina, and then I'll say or.
Okay. Lo que pasa a veces es que es un robo de identidad o quizás una identidad equivocada. Por ejemplo, he tenido un caso con un hombre que le dieron el nombre equivocado en sus documentos porque es un nombre muy común. Se llamaba John E. Smith, pero le pusieron el nombre John. Can you repeat that name, Ben?
So one was John, my client was John E. Smith, but they sued him as John F. Smith, who was a totally different guy in a different town.
Okay. So yo tenía un cliente, por ejemplo, que se llamaba John E. Smith, pero le pusieron el nombre John F. Smith, como es un nombre muy común. Cuando algo así sale, ¿qué puede hacer? Puede llamar al Servicios Legales Estatales, o si tiene más que 60, de nuevo, puede llamar al proyecto para ancianos.
And the other reason to call us or Statewide Legal is maybe you owe the money, but if your only income is Social Security and a pension, that's exempt from the credit card company. They can't take it. You need to understand what that means. Or maybe it's from another source where it's exempt, but you might have to file an exemption form, and we can help you with that.
Otra razón para llamarnos, tal vez usted sí deba dinero, pero si su único ingreso es el seguro social o una pensión, el ingreso está exento, o otra fuente de ingreso también puede estar exenta. En ese momento usted puede presentar una exención y le podemos asistir con eso.
Also, if there's a judgment entered against you and you're working, the creditor can take part of your wages. It's called a garnishment, which is legal mumbo jumbo. It just means they get to take a piece of your wages. But if they calculated it wrong, or if you have reason to think that was an unfair amount they're taking, there's a way to modify that. So you should call us or Statewide Legal if that's the case.
Además, otra razón es que si hay una sentencia dictada en su contra y usted está trabajando, el acreedor puede tomar salarios, embargos, pero si calcularon mal o fue una cantidad injusta, usted puede modificar eso posiblemente. Así que llámenos o a Servicios Legales Estatales.
Another common area that consumers ask us about is bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is available to what's called discharge or wipe out certain debts, including credit card debt.
Otra área común donde recibimos muchas preguntas es sobre la bancarrota o la quiebra. Esto significa que usted puede descargar o liquidar deudas, incluyendo deudas de tarjeta de crédito.
We at Connecticut Legal Services don't do bankruptcy, but we can get you a referral if you have a certain level of income or assets and no more. Or if you're under 60, Statewide Legal Services can do that.
En nuestras oficinas, Servicios Legales de Connecticut, no hacemos la bancarrota, pero podemos referirlo a otra agencia al cierto nivel de ingresos o activos. Y si tienen menos que 60 años, podemos hacer la referencia con el servicio legal estatal.
The last big common area of consumer problems we see are scams, and there's lots of them. We're in tax season. If you get an email from something purporting to be from the IRS or a phone call from somebody claiming to be from the IRS, it's a scam.
La última área muy común son las estafas. Estamos en la temporada de taxes, por ejemplo, o impuestos. Si usted recibe, por ejemplo, una llamada telefónica del IRS, típicamente es una estafa.
The IRS will contact you by US mail, by snail mail. That's how they do it. So if it's from any other source, it's not real.
El IRS o IRS se comunicará con usted solamente por correo de los Estados Unidos, correo típico. Cualquier otra fuente significa que es una estafa.
The same goes for the Social Security Administration, the folks that send Social Security income out. If they want to contact you, they're not going to call you or send you an email. They'll send you a letter in the mail.
Lo mismo ocurre con la agencia o administración de seguro social. Si ellos quieren comunicarse con usted, no llamarán, será por contacto de correo electrónico. O no será por correo electrónico, solo será por correo típico, correo papel físico.
If you get an email or a phone call and you're wondering about it, call us or call Statewide Legal Services. But unless it's a letter, and from Social Security or IRS, that is not the real people.
Si usted recibe un correo electrónico o una llamada telefónica y no está segura sobre si es legalmente el Seguro Social o el IRS, por favor llámenos nosotros o Servicios Legales Estatales para averiguar más.
Another big scam is you receive a letter or an email saying, congratulations, you're a winner. You've won $1 million or $100,000, even $10,000. And then you read on and says, but to collect this prize, you have to send us money or you have to deposit these checks and send us money.
Otra estafa muy común es una carta o una letra que recibe que le felicita que, por ejemplo, usted ganó dinero, $10,000, $1,000, pero para reclamar el premio, usted tiene que mandarnos dinero o enviar o depositar un cheque.
If it sounds too good to be true, it's not true.
Si suena muy bueno para ser verdadero, típicamente no es verdadero.
Do not send anybody like that money. Do not deposit any checks from people like that in your bank and then send them money from your bank.
No debe enviar dinero, no debe depositar cheques y luego darle el dinero de esos cheques.
Especially do not purchase gift cards and send them. I've had a number of clients who thought they had won some contests and all they had to do was purchase some Amazon gift cards and send them to the scammer to get their money. Guess what? They lost their money from the gift cards.
Especialmente no compre tarjetas de regalos y envíalo. Por ejemplo, si dice que ganó un anuncio y un premio, dicen que tienes que comprar una tarjeta de regalo. Yo he tenido varios clientes comprar una tarjeta de regalo y al fin perdieron su dinero.
And finally, just some general advice. If you use a computer, if you get an email from someone you don't know and it has a link on it to click, don't click that link.
Y finalmente un consejo. Si usted usa una computadora o un correo electrónico con un enlace o un link, no haga cliqueo en ese link. ¿Por qué?
That's a scammer. They're trying to put a virus in your computer or steal some information from you.
Eso típicamente es un estafador poniendo un virus en su computadora o tratando de buscar información sobre usted.
If you have any doubt, if it's someone you think you recognize, instead of responding to that email, you send them an email to the address you know is genuine, or you call them at the number you know is real and ask them, hey, did you send me that?
Si usted tiene alguna duda o piensa que quizás es un correo electrónico de alguien conocido, sugiere que llame a esa persona a un número que usted sabe es real o un correo electrónico nuevo separado que usted sabe que es real.
Oh, and one other scam before a little more general advice, the computer virus scam. You get a call from supposedly Microsoft or Dell or someone like that.
Y otra estafa común sobre el virus de la computadora. Usted puede recibir una llamada de Microsoft o Dell o una compañía de computadora.
And they say they want to help you because they know that you've been infected your computer with a virus. And if you just let them share control of the computer, they can fix it. But then they take control of your computer and hold you up for money.
Y ellos dicen que te quieren ayudar porque ellos saben que usted tiene un virus de la computadora. Típicamente lo que ellos están buscando es sacar dinero de usted una vez que usted hable con ellos.
And finally, last general advice, read documents before you sign them.
Y finalmente, un consejo general, lee los documentos antes de firmarlo.
Ask for and keep a copy of any document you sign.
Cualquier documento que tenga su firma, usted debe pedir y guardar una copia de eso.
If you have questions about what you're being asked to sign, ask your questions and get them answered before you sign.
Si usted tiene dudas o preguntas sobre un documento que va a firmar, haz tus preguntas y asegúrese que tiene respuestas para esas preguntas antes de que usted que lo firme.
And keep copies of all important documents that get created during your consumer transactions.
Y guarde copias de todos los documentos importantes que se crean durante transacciones sobre crédito.
And finally, if you're dealing with a creditor or a merchant or anybody, and you think you've reached an agreement on something that had been an issue, either get them to confirm it in writing or you confirm it in writing, which can be by email, and make sure you keep a copy of that. It is not going to help you to talk to some representative on the phone, and that's it.
Finalmente, si usted hace un negocio con el acreedor o el comerciante y han llegado a un acuerdo que antes era un problema, consígalo por escrito. Usted también puede conseguirlo en escrito por correo electrónico. No le ayudará a hablar con alguien, un representante de teléfono solamente.
It's fine to start with a phone call with a representative, but either they need to confirm it to you afterwards in email, or if not, you confirm it with them in email. Then you have a record of what you were told and what you agreed on.
Es bien para comenzar con una llamada telefónica, pero necesitan confirmar después por correo electrónico para que usted tenga un récord después en algo escrito.
And now, while we're going to take your questions, I'm going to ask Becky to put up the slide, which shows all the contact information for Consumer Law Project, Statewide Legal Services, the Federal Trade Commission to deal with identity theft, how you get your free credit reports, and so forth and so on. There's also some other federal and state agencies up there who are good resources if the first ones you've tried aren't helping you. So, are there any questions?
Ahora tengamos un chance para recibir preguntas. En esta página de la presentación vamos a tener información sobre el proyecto de Consumidor, Servicios Legales Estatales, la Comisión Federal de Comercio y otras agencias federales y estatales que son buenos recursos si algunos de otros no le pueden ayudar.